We're going to begin right on our hands and our knees. Okay? And as we kind of settle in, hands nice and flat, knees about hip-width apart, I want us to just find our breath. And as we find our breath, we're going to add movement. We're going to take a deep breath in and just really push our shoulder blades up towards the sky, creating a beautiful cat stretch. Exhaling, lowering that lower back down, lifting that head and chest into cow. So I want you to repeat that. Inhaling, cat. Exhaling, cow. What's beautiful here is you can move at your own pace. You don't have to stay exactly with me. Maybe you want to move a little faster or a little slower. That is fine. We'll do it about 2 more times, back and forth. Good. As you kind of wrap up this up and down motion, let's bring that spine to a nice neutral position, meaning my lower back's nice and flat. Now I'm going to turn so that my fingertips are pointing to the long direction of my mat, and I'm just going to move through some nice circles, letting that weight really shift onto those hands. This is a beautiful way to kind of warm up those wrists, especially if you haven't taken part in a power style session for a while. We want to make sure those wrists are nice and warmed up to be holding our body weight. I'm going to pause at the center, alternate directions. Now I'm still continuing those nice long inhalations and exhalations that I began when I started my practice. Once again, pausing at center, returning those hands to a forward-facing position. On my next exhale, I'm going to settle into child's pose. Really let those fingers kind of creep forward. Forehead can come to mat. On our next inhale, we're going to roll up, cat stretch. And just like before, we're going to kind of continue this movement. Exhaling back to child, inhaling back to cat. So we just can get this beautiful back and forth, dynamic movement with your own breath. Let's do one more repetition. Beautiful. This time as we come to our hands and knees, let's get our toes underneath us, straighten out our legs into a high plank using that belly to lift that hip upwards to our first down dog. So now that we're in down dog, feel free to kind of move around in this pose. You don't have to be locked or feel like you're glued to your mat if you want to walk it out a little bit. Also, if down dog is still a relatively challenging pose, don't ever feel like you're forced into digging those heels down. You can always have slight bend in those knees with those heels lifted. Eyes looking up to our hands. We're going to do our first step, hop, or float forward up to our hands. As we exhale, let's take a beautiful forward fold. On our inhale, deep breath in. We're moving through kind of a traditional sun salutation A. Exhaling, hands flowing through heart center as we make our way back down to the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands on the mat, stepping or hopping back. Let's lower to the mat in our first chaturanga. This can be done on the toes or on the knees. Once we have contact with that mat, with our belly, we can push that ground away, lifting to cobra or upward dog. And then exhaling back to down dog. That is one cycle that will definitely be repeated multiple times throughout this practice. You'll get very familiar with it. But from here, let's take a nice high plank. Just like in chaturanga, if at any point you want to drop to your knees during high plank, you're more than welcome to. But I want to work on single leg balance in this high plank. So I'm just extending my left leg out. Notice my lower back is nice and flat. 2 more breaths here. One final inhale. On the exhale, let's take a single leg chaturanga down, inhaling up to our cobra or upward dog. Exhaling back to down dog. Once again, take a little bit of time here, maybe staying still or moving around, whatever your body needs. When you're ready, high plank. Lifting that right leg, breathing through a total of 3 breaths here. Inhale 2. Inhale 3. And on that exhale, let's take that single leg chaturanga down, lifting up into upward dog or cobra before we make our way back to down dog. Now, the goal in this next sequence is to really get our heart rate up. So we're going to begin taking our right leg nice and high, 3-legged dog. On the exhale, we're going to step it forward, planting that right foot, letting that back heel stay lifted. Lifting into warrior 1 with that crescent lunge. Now we're not going to stay here. We're going to go right back down, reaching those hands down, kicking it up to 3-legged dog. We're repeating that, kicking it forward, inhaling warrior 1, exhaling down, inhaling 3-legged dog, exhaling, kicking it forward, inhaling warrior 1, exhaling back. So I want you to continue this at your own pace. Each time you kick it back, let that leg lengthen. Each time you raise up, really work on balancing and reaching for that ceiling. Very simple motions, but they move the entire body, which aids in keeping that heart rate elevated. We're going to do 2 more. You guys are doing great at home. I'm sure I'm getting a little winded, so hopefully you are. Last one. Now, as we kick it back to 3-legged dog, let's take that 3-legged dog to single leg chaturanga. Lower it down and release through your vinyasa. Beautiful work. So down dog now will be our recovery. About 3 breaths here. Beautiful. So now, just like before, left leg up, 3-legged dog. Exhaling, kick it forward. Inhaling, warrior 1. And continue. We're doing a lot of these. Back and forth. Think of these repetitive movements the same way a mantra is repetitive. As we repeat it over and over, our body gets stronger and stronger. It memorizes the motions, and it becomes more and more comfortable for us to perform. Back and forth. Again, you guys are welcome to slow these motions down. If you start to get fatigued, you're a beast, you can speed them up. You guys are doing great. We'll do 2 more. Remember, on that final one, we'll return to 3-legged dog. This is our last step forward. Good. Kick it up. Keep that leg elevated. Flatten that body out. Single leg chaturanga. Good work through our vinyasa. Beautiful job, guys. Make sure you use that down dog for recovery. more breaths. Good work. Okay, so from this point, I'm going to keep my forearms on the mat out in front of me, but I'm going to raise up. So now, I'm almost in a tabletop position, but from my forearms. And I want to work on these areas right between the shoulder blades. So we're going to do scapular push-ups from our forearms. So we're going to like arch our back, almost like we're doing cat stretch. And then release, pull those shoulder blades together, almost like we're taking cow, back and forth. Good. Inhaling and exhaling with this movement. Now, if we want to make this a little more challenging, we can make our spine nice and neutral first, step it back into a forearm plank, do the same thing. So you're welcome to keep those knees on the mat or work that scapular push-up from plank position. The hips should generally be pretty still. Mine are probably a little high. Let me drop them down just a bit. Back and forth. After you finish one more set, let's walk those feet in, push those hips up till we're in dolphin pose. Again, dolphin heels can be down, or we can bend those knees, lift those heels, and we're just gonna go back and forth. We're gonna push that ground away, down dog, then we're gonna drop back down to dolphin. Good, push that ground away, down dog, drop those forearms. Try to make as little change as possible. Only changes happening is in the forearm and hands. You guys are doing awesome. One more set. Beautiful job. That takes us back to our down dog. If you'd like to take a vinyasa here, feel free to do so. And that'll set us back up into our down dog. We're gonna get off the hands just a little bit. To do so, let's take our right leg nice and high. We can even bend that knee. Take an open scorpion dog if you'd like before we step it forward, laying that leg across our mat, making basically our shin parallel to the front of our mat. Now we're in a pigeon style pose, but rather than laying down in sleeping pigeon just to hold a stretch, we're gonna float that back leg. So now we're kind of balancing. If you have blocks, you can use them under hands. But what we're gonna work to do, imagine we're like a bird, we have our wings out, we're gonna fly down, and we're gonna lift up. Good, we're gonna fly down. Beautiful, lift up, keep that back leg nice and long. Make sure we're breathing through the exercise. 2 more. Beautiful, guys. At any point you need a little bit of touchdown, that's always fine. Following that final repetition, we can release that back leg and lay forward across that pigeon pose if you'd like. Give it a little bit of stretch and recovery. On our 3rd exhalation, we can start pushing that ground away, sitting ourselves up, back toe underneath us, kicking that leg back. If you'd like to add a vinyasa, go ahead and do so before meeting us back in down dog. So that right hip should feel both stretched and a little fatigued, so we gotta balance that out. On our left that left leg nice and high, three-legged dog, and then again, you can bend that knee and open that hip if you'd like for open scorpion dog. Before we step it forward, laying that leg across that mat. Again, feel free to adjust yourself as needed first. My hair is all over the place, don't mind me. And then, this side's a lot harder for me. My leg's nice and straight, or at least as straight as I can get it comfortably. And then I'm going to release down and up, keeping all my weight in this left hip. Good. Inhaling on my way down. Exhaling on my way up, working that balance. One more, okay? Following this one. That one's just hard on this side. Last one. Getting those hands once again underneath to support. And at this point, if you want that little extra stretch or a little recovery time, you can kind of slowly make your way to the mat. Again, you can go as low as forehead to mat, or you can stay upright on those forearms. We're not using blocks today in the video, but again, a block at home can always be really nice to be placed right between your hands to rest your forehead on. Wonderful work. So just like before, you notice on our opposite side, I did add a single leg chaturanga. So as I get my back to underneath me, lift that left leg up. You're welcome to extend it back and add that single leg chaturanga for the opposite side as well. Before we exhale, 3 breaths here in down dog. Now we have yet to really spend a lot of time on our feet. So let's go ahead and transition to those sequences. Gonna extend right leg up, three-legged dog. Exhaling as I plant it forward. Gonna reach up, big, beautiful, long arms in my first warrior one, back heel down. And then I'll exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse warrior, keeping that front knee bent. And back to warrior 2. So at this time, I want to revolve the pose. So I'm going to turn, kind of rotate that back foot so that I'm really kind of having that chest open to the right side of my mat. And I'm going to do the same thing, reverse warrior. This one takes a little bit of balance. Good. And then as I release back to that revolved warrior 2, lift my back heel, left hand comes down, right hand goes up, revolved side angle. Now you'll see my back knee is hovering or it's a floating leg. You're always welcome to drop that knee if you need a little more support. Because we are going to do a step back into side plank. I'm going to lift that right foot. Woo, watch my balance. Keep that foot all the way back and hold. Act like there's a string attached to our hips and it's lifting us up to that ceiling. 2 more breaths. Beautiful. We'll let that right hand come down. High plank to chaturanga. Inhaling into our back bend before exhaling to down dog. Good work, guys. Let's take our left foot nice and high, three-legged dog. Stepping it forward, exhaling, inhaling up to warrior 1. Then we'll exhale, warrior 2. Inhaling, reverse warrior. As I exhale back to my warrior 2, I'm again gonna revolve this pose. So if you know that was a little difficult, you wanna shorten up that stance, you can. Once I'm completely revolved, you see how my hips end up almost going past square. Holding that lunge, watching that balance. I'm gonna reach back, right hand goes up, left hand goes down. Back to that revolved warrior two, lifting that back heel. Releasing right hand down, left hand up, revolved side angle. And just like before, that right knee can come down, or if that leg's nice and straight, we're gonna step back to full side plank. 3 to 5 breaths here. And we'll really think about those hips being lifted. Eyes can look up through the hands or down at your mat. One more breath. Beautiful. We'll start that transition. Coming back to that high plank, shifting forward. Beautiful chaturanga down, lifting to cobra or upward dog. Recovering once again in down dog, or feel free to take a child's pose if you want a little bit more weight off of those hands. On our next inhale, we're going to prepare to step forward. We're going to start with the left leg though. Left leg up. Exhale, step it forward, planting it. Good. We're going to come directly into warrior two. Now we're going to use both directions of our mat now for our next sequence. So as we hold warrior two, our next move is bringing these hands together, and we're going to turn those feet to face forward. Hands come to heart center, straddle stretch. Slowly rolling up, hands come back out. Warrior two, opposite direction. Good. Now similar movement, only this time as those hands come together, we're gonna dip that left side, come up, warrior two. Good, bring those hands together, dip to the right, come up, warrior two. Again, back and forth. Now you guys kind of know the pattern. And if your practice is a little different, I always get people, I'm not coordinated. I did it on the wrong side. It's fine, just stay moving. You guys are doing amazing, I'm sure. So let's go ahead, come back to center. We're gonna pause here. We're gonna kind of walk those heels in. Let our arms come up. We call this like cactus arms, okay? And you may not have the most perfect goddess squat. Like my adductors are always a little tight, so it's not a big deal. But what we want to do is we want to do little pulses. We want to kind of like dip and up, dip and up, dip and up, dip and up. Let's let those hands go out. Good. Maybe your legs start getting a little shaky. That's what we want. Let's let those hands go up. Dip and up. Dip. We're going to do 3 fast. 1, 2, 3, and stand. Again. 1, 2, 3, and stand. 1, 2, 3, and stand. Last 1, 2, 3, and stand. Good job. Let's open those feet up. Flow once again through the center. If you'd like a really large straddle stretch here, you want to work towards maybe a tripod headstand. If that's part of your practice, you are more than welcome to work that head towards the ground. Otherwise, you're welcome to keep some good support in those hands. Have a nice flat back. Lots of different plays we can do in straddle stretch. You could even walk those hands maybe through. So regardless of your level, you should have a lot of options here. But following that straddle stretch, I'm going to kind of like heel toe, walk it in just enough to be able to roll up, be able to return that left foot forward, be able to return to warrior two, back to warrior one, which is where we started, and release those hands to the mat. If you'd like to take down dog or a vinyasa, that is up to you. So we're going to change it up just a little bit on our opposite side. Right leg's going to go up nice and high. We're going to step it forward right into warrior two. We're going to go back to that goddess pose. So now we're facing the left side of our mat. I'm going to flip on you just so I'm still looking at the screen. But just imagine we're doing that opposite direction. You're welcome to adjust if you need to see your screen still as well. Because this time in goddess stretch or goddess squat, I want us to work on lifting those toes up and down. Now, I'm also building shoulder strength by keeping this arm extended, or both arms extended. So you're kind of getting a twofer here. Again, make sure you're sitting low. Breathing through, back and forth. On our final lift, if you want to come up, as I lose it, onto both toes. Feel free. My legs are shaking. Beautiful. Again, say we started from here. I'm going to rotate that right foot back to center. Rotate back to my warrior one. Releasing those hands down, taking that vinyasa, or recovering in down dog. You guys are killing it. Beautiful job, guys. Let's lift our eyes to our hands, step or hop to the front of our mat. Forward fold. Deep breath in, reach up. Beautiful. Now I'm going to bring my hands to heart center because I'm going to sit into Konasana chair pose. If you want to encourage or make chair pose a little more difficult, you can extend those arms. We just want those arms to be relatively in line with those ears. Good. Let's bring those hands to heart center. If we chose the extension option. Now, I'm going to keep my left knee bent, but I'm going to raise that right foot. I'm going to kick it back. And I'm going to try to bring that knee to either my calf or maybe my ankle. Kick it right back. Notice I've never straightened up that left side. So when I return, I'm still in chair pose. Return to those legs or arms extended. Make sure that belly button is nice and tight. Tailbone's tucked. And we're going to do it again, only this time I'm extending my left leg. Again, not straightening my right. Getting it out just enough to tap. Kick it back out. Pull it back into chair. Beautiful. So we still have not released that chair pose. Good. Hands coming back to center. This time, let's choose to straighten that leg, taking a true warrior three. Warrior three can extend back with hands at heart center, hands behind us, hands reaching for a block or hands fully extended. Wherever our hands have landed, let's bring them back to heart center. Let's tap that knee to that ankle 2 more times. Notice I'm still breathing through the exercise. Last one. Can we bring it back to chair? Ooh, really feeling those quads burn. And let's take a big breath in. Finally lengthen out those legs. Exhaling, hands to heart center. We'll let those hands flow all the way through. Let's take a full sun salutation A here. Beautiful work, guys. This gives us a nice down dog to kind of recover in. Eyes looking up to those hands. When you're ready, step or hop forward. Just like before, forward fold. And deep breath in, reach up. Hands to heart center, chair pose. Again, you're welcome to extend out. Holding here about 3 to 5 breaths first. We can start that transition, keeping those knees bent, extending back, touching that ankle, extending back into chair, opposite side. So we're just doing kind of a second round of this, just starting on our opposite side. Good. Back extended. This time, let's take true warrior 3. Let's straighten that leg up. Kick our left foot back. Again, hands, as I lose it, can be at heart center, can be extended, or can be in and out in front. Good. Can we tap that ankle one more time? Last one. Good. And back to chair. And straighten up. Big, beautiful deep breath in. Exhaling through our vinyasa. Good work, guys. Inhale, flat back. And stepping or hopping back. Beautiful job, guys. Let's go ahead and sit back in chair, or sorry, not chair, definitely not chair, child. Letting that forehead rest on that mat. Even from this position, we can kind of walk our hands maybe out to the left just a little bit. And out to the right. And back to center. We're not completely done with our high intensity movement. I'm going to roll myself up, take down dog once again, and hop right back up to my hands. So, earlier we held chair just like so. I want to give you guys an option to add to this because so much of our movement is limited. Maybe we're sitting at a desk for large periods of time, working from home, not getting out, getting that blood pumping nearly as much. So I want to give us a chance to really let go in a really high intensity way. So if we're in this chair pose, I want us to reach it back and we're going to get hops. Good. 2. We're going to do 10 total. The height of the hops is up to you, but I want us landing softly. Last one. And hold in our chair pose. So let those hands come down. Hop it back. Down dog. Hop it forward. Chair hop. Hop it back, down dog, hop it forward, chair hop. Hop it back, down dog, hop it forward, chair hop. 2 more, hop it back, down dog, hop it forward, chair hop. Last one, hop it back, down dog, hop it forward, chair hop. Hold it. You guys got this. Control that breath. Breathe through the pain. And I'm going to let us release all the way down to our mat. Beautiful work, guys. Just for the record, those were yoga burpees. They weren't traditional burpees. I'm going to hear that from someone. We added that down dog in. Let's extend those hands out. We're going to do like a really slow release in a sit-up. Okay, so as I'm making my way down the mat, I want us to feel each vertebrae. Kind of touch down, down, down. Once we're nice and flat, hopefully you guys can see me on the screen and I'm not cut off. Gonna extend those hands up, big stretch, and then slowly roll up. Again, try to keep those feet flat. Let that spine kind of lift really gradually. One more time, release it down. Reach it back. And as we exhale, reach it forward. Good. So I'm going to take a half navasana here. I want to make sure I'm in the center for everyone who's watching. Hands can be out in front or above my head. Now, this is a little less traditional because what I'm going to do, I'm going to straighten that leg out. It's not resting, it's hovering. And I'm going to pull it in. Straighten out, pull it in. Chest should remain open. We're still breathing through these exercises. Good job. Let's do one more on either side. If you're fatiguing, hands can come to heart center or down to the mat. Once again, we'll release. I'm going to bring my hips right close to my feet now, okay, as I release back down to the mat. Once my lower back is on the mat, I want to make sure I hold or push that lower back down, allowing my hips to tilt ever so slightly, because now that I'm on the mat, I'm going to lift into a gentle bridge. I just want to feel a nice stretch through the front of those hips. And on our lower, we're going to lower really gradually. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Once those hips are down, I'm going to take a baby step out. Lift again, all the way up. Breathing through this bridge. And as I start to lower, again, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Third time, baby step out. See how my feet are getting farther and farther away from my hips? Lift again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start that lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Baby step out. So this exercise is a little time consuming since we take so many steps, but let's lift. You can see the farther away your feet get from your hips, the more your hamstrings and glutes are having to work. Let's slower. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm a little out of mat space, but I might be able to get one more step in. If you want to try, let's lift. and 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now we backtrack it. This is an exercise that is so repetitive. It's easy to remember to do at home on your own. I'm lifting up for 5. And I'm slowly lowering for 5. So it's a great strengthener for the back of the leg, something that if you're used to using like body weight, or not body weights, but using like gym equipment to train your hamstrings, this is a great way to train your hamstrings through yoga and while at home. So I have probably one more set after this. Even though this is a great exercise and definitely strengthening that back side of the body, it's also giving me a chance to kind of let my heart rate gradually come down. A little easier to control that heart rate back to normal. And so it's a great exercise to end with. Beautiful job. So from here, let's take our right ankle, let's place it over our left knee. We're gonna straighten our left leg all the way up. You can see my head, shoulders, lower back, everything's nice and flat. This foot's pointed right up towards the ceiling. And from here, I'm gonna lower that foot all the way down to the mat. And then I'm gonna lift it just a little bit beyond what would be considered 90 degrees. So bring it a little closer to my body. You can hear my voice that those abs are having to work a little harder. So I'm gonna release it down, and I'm gonna pull it back in. Inhaling as that leg releases, exhaling as I pull that leg in. And this will be our final one. Now before we do that opposite side, I'm going to release my left foot down to the mat, let that right knee cross completely over my left, and allow those legs to kind of walk and fall to the left-hand side, allowing for this real gentle and relaxing lumbar stretch, right hand extending out. Eyes can look to the left, or if you want that deeper, more intense stretch, you can look through the right-hand side. Slowly bringing those legs back to center. I want to allow for us to get that one additional abdominal exercise on this opposite side once again. So hands come alongside of us, right leg goes straight up, and we're going to lower down. Imagine you're trying to glue your entire upper body all the way down to the lower back, gluing it to the mat as you do this exercise. Inhaling as those legs fall, exhaling as you pull them in. We'll do one more. Good work, bending that knee, planting that foot. I'm going to show you that second stretch that we entered on our opposite side already. Working to stretch that outer hip, letting that lumbar spine kind of lengthen and lift off that mat, keeping that upper chest and shoulder blades nice and flat against the ground. Beautiful extension through that left-hand side. Now, following a power class such as this, sometimes you have to be a little bit more intentional about making sure the body has released and relaxed any of its tension. The muscles have been on, they've been working and moving quickly. So we want to be mindful as we move towards shavasana about intentionally releasing any hidden stress. So let's bring our legs back to center. If you'd like to lay in traditional corpse pose, you can lengthen out. I want us to take a deep breath in here. And as we exhale, imagine we're doing a mental check starting from the crown of our head, moving through our shoulders, our mid-back, our hips, our legs, our ankles, looking for any tension that may be hidden there. Any area you find, release that into the mat as if that tension is melting into the ground. You can repeat this mental check as many times as you feel necessary, but once that check is completed, you're prepared for a comfortable shavasana. You can continue staying in corpse pose or your shavasana pose of choice for as long as you would like. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to transition. I'm going to slowly roll onto my side. Push that ground away. Make my way to a seated upright position. A kind of pose of choice is generally lotus pose. Crossing those legs, palms open and up. Keeping those eyes closed, body relaxed. Returning to the simplest thing we possibly can, which is our breath. Breathing in, nice long inhalation, and then exhaling out, again, any remaining or hidden stress. And on our next breath in, let's return to the purpose of this class. Let's breathe in the mantra, I am brave. And exhaling out that bravery to the world, to our friends, to our neighbors. Again, breathing in, I am brave. Letting that seep deep into our hearts and our minds during this time. At this point, we can open our eyes, bring our hands to heart center. Everyone, this was super fun to do. It felt like you were right here in the room with me. So thank you so much for watching.